place, rock the 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 place.
What up, friends? That Joe here at Good News Brewing. It's not an OBAAT on the road. It's not a full podcast. It's a hybrid of all of that because we're here to talk with Brew in the Lou, and we're here to talk with Giovanni from the Brew Hogs, and we're here to try some Good News beer. So, let's get after it.
Hang with my freestyle. Rock the place, rock the place.
What up, friends?
What up, world? It's your boy, Big Rob.
And I'm that guy, Joe. And we are here at Good News Brewing in Frenchtown, St. Charles. It's St. Charles.
St. Charles.
But we're in Frenchtown.
Yeah.
It's cute. It's quaint.
Quaint. I was going to say quaint was probably the best word for it. Yeah.
I don't know that it's actually European. I haven't been to Europe.
It's French.
It's got a vibe, you know. We're out here to talk with our new friend Amy, who's one of the organizers for Brew in the Lou, and Giovanni, who you guys got to meet at Smash Festival for the Brew Hogs. Giovanni is like the boss man for the Brew Hogs Home Brewers Association. That was the Smash Festival I missed out on, but we're going to be working with them to cover Brew in the Lou in a few weeks.
Yeah,
super excited, man.
I'm excited about that.
Brew in the Lou is going to be huge. We'll let them tell you about it. But although we don't have a full sit down OBAAT on the road kind of thing with the people from Good News Brewing,
we're going to work on that though. We're going to try and get you guys.
We'll get that together.
Like that coming up.
We figured we came out here to meet Amy and Gio for their collab beer for Brew in the Lou. Good News Brewing collabed with them to make a California Common. Really, really great beer. Again, I'll let them tell you about it. But since we came out here to meet them, we were like,
why not do a flight?
We gotta get a flight.
Yeah.
We gotta check this out. So we have a German Pilsner, a Belgian White, a Brown Ale, and the perfect storm is an IPA. I believe it's a session IPA. I think that's what I got. Lighter ABV session IPA. So fuck it, dude. Let's start with the German Pils. Can't go wrong with a Pilsner. It's light, it's golden, it's crisp. It's what we want out of a Pils.
It's got a good smell.
Pilsners a lot of times are a little bit more malty.
After drinking that back row pew, this is very light compared to that, but I like that back
There's
row
that dry
pew.
hop though.
Yeah.
Can you taste that on there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's one of those big things. Like, so when we tell people to try craft lagers when they're light beer drinkers, we're talking about the different varieties because you have different styles of lagers. Pilsner is a lager. But a Pilsner typically, like this is a German style Pils, so it has a certain kind of flavor. But typically a Pilsner is going to have a little malt taste.
Yeah.
So this has a malt on it. That's why me personally, I like Italian Pils a lot because Italian Pils have this like very specific like dry malt to it.
Yeah.
And if it's a good Italian Pils, you can always taste it. But
I like this. This is crushable.
Really, really light,
yeah.
Right? But it has that.
It's got a lot of flavor to it.
You know, for me, I mean. That's one of the things that I like a lot about a Pilsner. That's why when I was in my early 20s, my go-to slamming beer used to be Miller Lite.
Yeah.
I didn't know at the time. I just thought like, I don't know, man, just compared to like Coors Light or Bud Light, I was like, I just like the flavor more. It's because Miller Lite is technically a Pilsner. So even though it's really light, it's basic, it's domestic, it's not fancy, there is a little bit of a malt flavor. And when it warms up, you can taste it a lot more.
Yeah.
Beer knowledge. Don't worry, I'm getting my sister on soon so I can know what I'm talking about.
This is really light. It's something you could drink on a hot summer day and not like get bloated or like feel like you drank too much of it. And it's got a good flavor to it. Yeah. There's a little bit of a dryness on the finish, which makes it good with food. Yep.
You know, but there's that malt flavor. So we got a Belgian Wit beer, one of our personal favorites. This is one of the ones that me and Jim always talk about. Like he was mad at, I think it was High Grain Brewing, High Grain in Ohio. I think, I might be wrong, but I think it was High Grain.
Those were the episodes we did not too long ago.
Yeah, but they didn't have,
produced it.
They didn't have the one that he wanted. It was a fucking Belgian.
So I've had a couple of Belgian whites before. Shock top makes one.
Well, our boy Chad, makes the Soothsayer.
Is that at Iron
It's the
Hops?
same kind of brew. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Shout out to Chad at Iron Hops.
Dude,
fucking love you.
And we need to
buddy.
get out there and see him. I need to reach out to him.
We're gonna get
and be
together soon. The last time I spoke with Chad, we had talked about how much I need to come and get a growler of his stout from him, because I was like, I'll drink that day, buddy.
Yeah.
but how he wants to grab some small batches of his beer and bring them over to the studio, and let's sit down and do a traditional podcast, and we'll just drink some beers. We'll drink some Iron Hops beers.
So Culture Podcast has got the perfect opportunity for that.
Ooh, okay.
Because we got to do a beer podcast.
Yeah, and we'll bring him.
He's him in.
Dude, special guest. So be looking out for the collab. That's going to be great. Generally speaking, I really like this.
I like this. It's light. It's refreshing. It's got a little bit of a lemon to it.
Yeah, it's kind of zesty. That's true. There's a citrus on it.
There's a little bit of it. Not too crazy though.
The bready malt is very, very light. I can't talk shit. It's a good beer, but
I like the pills.
Oh yeah, pills isn't all the time.
Yeah.
See, my issue with a Belgian like this, that's what I'm saying. I'm not talking shit at all. This is a good beer. It's very, very light too, and for people that don't always love a Belgian like this, because they can be kind of sweet.
Yeah.
Like a sweet malt on them.
Yeah.
That's why I like Bluewood, Bananas and Blow. They have that banana taste, or like we've talked about that. We talked about that with Chad, that you can get like banana bread flavor, the clove on there and stuff sometimes. My thing is just that KC Beer Co. has one of the best Belgians I've ever had.
Yeah, so it's hard to like
this entire year. Every single one I have. I just compare it to it. And I'll be honest, Chad, dude, Iron Hop Soothsayer is it's a competitor. It's right there. But that KC Beer Co., dude, their Belgian Wit beer is wonderful.
We need to get him. I need to reach out to him, have him come out to the studio.
We're gonna set that up. We're gonna set that up for sure. But this is really good. I like it. It's very drinkable, and actually, this one is really nice because a Belgian wit beer is normally, for people that aren't big craft fans, you're not gonna like it.
Yeah.
But if you drink mostly regular domestic lagers, this is a good entry point for you. It's not too much of anything.
I'll give you that.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But still got the malt on there. You got some flavor going.
Yeah. Now I'm looking forward to this brown ale. I like me a brown ale.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that's right. We talked about that last time. I think you were talking about that at Wild Sun.
Yeah. And one of the reasons why is I live like literally probably 200 yards from Civil Life Brewing.
Yeah.
And they have a really good brown ale.
Yeah, Civil Life, I think I'm not going to speak for the whole community, but I think for the most part, it's generally agreed upon that they might have the best traditional English style brown in St. Louis.
Really? The one thing, and I like it because it's in my neighborhood.
Really good.
The one thing, they don't put enough carbonation in their beer. Ever notice that?
Yeah, I see what you mean.
And so, like, when I get a growler, like, I have to smash through it, like, within a day, because if I don't, it goes flat.
That's true. That's good bar advice for the local St. Louis market. If you get a growler from Civil Life, be ready.
Be sure to drink it quick. At least within 24 hours.
Yeah,
because it's...
Sure. Which, really, if you want your beer crisp, if it's in a growler or in a howler, you need to drink it in that first 24.
Yeah, that's true.
I have heard from a couple of people that if you don't crack it, and it's a good beer, especially if it's carbonated well, you can still get 2 days out of it. That second day, you'll start to notice.
Pretty quick.
You'll start to notice that second day, But like at best, that's all you got. You know, I think some people have argued with me. I do think crowlers, when they seal the can, I do think you get a little bit more shelf life out of them than the like screw top on a growler. It's less beer, but if you're gonna go somewhere,
well, the growler that I got from Civil Life is actually like a pop top. Like a Grolsch. Remember the Grolsch you get that had you could close it back.
I love those swing tops. I try to get those beers to use them for the mead.
So let's give this
Brown ale. Fuck yeah. Brown ale out here at Good News Brewing. Good news. The gentleman side told me they started in 2016. This is one of, I don't remember, there's 2 or 3 locations, but there's multiple locations. We're out here in Frenchtown. This one's been here for 2 years. Ooh.
Toasty.
Yeah.
This is something you could probably drink with like a s'more on campfire.
Oh yeah,
right.
Which is one of the reasons why brown ales and porters are so fucking good in the cold weather.
Yeah,
because everybody loves. I mean, not everybody. Craft people love a malty, roasted, darker beer when it's cold outside. And you're sitting around the fire and everything. Yeah, but at the same time, you got to be one of the real ones to truly, truly enjoy stouts. And then even when you do, sometimes, even for myself, sometimes it's like, dude, I've had 3 of them. I can't do another one, you know?
Yeah.
So brown ales and porters is perfect because, like, dude, I'll drink a fucking 6-pack of these.
Yeah.
Over the course of a couple hours while we're sitting around the fire.
Like late October, early November.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
In the middle of,
a couple of hours.
Middle of summer.
Yeah.
It's a little...
See, in the warm weather, I like beers like this, just at the end of the day, especially when you're craving a drink, but I'm not going to like pour up liquor, or maybe I don't have any liquor. I really like a dark beer. Yeah, a beer that I'm going to sit and drink for 20 or 30 minutes, you know, like a real stout or a real porter. But yeah, when it gets cold, I'm like, shit, I'll just sit on the porch and be a little bit chilly, and I'll just...
I could drink this on a cold winter's day, man.
Yeah.
Wearing a coat and some mittens and stuff, just sitting outside next to a campfire or something.
100%. In those conditions, I promise you, I can put down a 6-pack of this pretty easy.
Oh, I could. Now, if
it drinks really light. It's a big, bold flavor.
It's got a lot of flavor.
It's a lot of roasted, toasty malt, but
I just don't
drink
this in the middle of the summer on a hot summer's day.
Yeah. Well, that's what I mean. When I do it, that's how I do it. It's like, you know, sometimes at the end of the day, you're just like, let me just like throw a couple ice cubes in and I'm going to pour this good tequila that I have or this good whiskey that I have. And you're just like, I'm just going to sit back and just fucking enjoy this one stiff-ass drink.
Yeah. Sip on
That's
it,
how I'll
it.
drink darker beers when it's hot as fuck outside. Because sometimes, like either I'll just choose not to drink the liquor or maybe I don't have something good to sip on. Sometimes all you got is shit that's good to mix, you know, and I'm like, I'm not going to fucking, I'm not going to sip on and enjoy the Four Roses.
Right.
You know, it's like Four Roses isn't shit. It's just like, dude. So if I have a really nice porter sitting around or a stout that's been sitting in the beer fridge, I'm like, you know what? Yeah, let's pour that bitch in. Yeah. But not outside because you can't drink a beer like this when it's 95, 100 degrees on the porch.
It's almost too hot today, and it's like high 80s,
and you're
high
actually,
80s,
we're
low
actually blessed
90s.
with very good weather today too.
Yeah, and it's actually fairly nice. But this one, it's almost too hot even for it right now.
I think the temp that we're drinking at is good though because you get all the hop out of it.
Yeah, you get the flavor out of it.
All right, last one, man. Perfect Storm.
We're thinking this
I'm
is
almost positive this is a session IPA. Because I remember the last two I asked him about were both IPAs, and I went with the session, the lighter one. Which, in case you didn't know, that's basically all it means. It's a lighter ABV. You know, most IPAs are 7+. A double is going to be around 10.
One of my favorite IPAs is the Incarnation by Four Hands.
Oh, yeah.
My God. You can only drink like 2 or 3 of them, and you're
everything you want.
Man.
Oh yeah,
you know, it's strong, dude.
That's why they did good by adding the 12-ounce option.
And a crazy story about that. I haven't got a chance to talk to you guys about this. So I forget exactly what I was doing, but I was in Schnucks on Arsenal, right? And I was looking for a good beer, right? And I'm just kind of like looking over the different options. And this really cute like worker at Schnucks came up, and she was like, "Are you looking for beer?" And I'm like, "Yeah," but I'm like, trying to figure out, you know, I want to try something different. And she pointed to the Incarnate. She's like, "This is my favorite. This is awesome." And I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and try it.
I wish you could meet her. We need a guest like that.
Dude, yeah, right? Like, she knew exactly, because I brought her home and got it was already chilled and cracked one open. And I was like, oh, shit. This is really good.
Yeah, right? Man.
And what's different about...
That's a serious IPA, too. It's
very
bitter,
serious.
It's super hoppy. And, like, the bitterness is like...
It reminds me of drinking, like, grapefruit juice.
Yeah.
And I don't like grapefruit at all, but I like that, right?
Yeah, man.
And it is super strong. And so that has been
Citropolis is a big one, too, for modern.
Yeah.
I think it's up there as well. But, I mean, definitely, man, like somebody who wants a big IPA that's never been to St. Louis, that's a good one to have.
It's a good one. It's a good one to try. So I learned
it's probably top 5
through this podcast and through producing these episodes and stuff, right? Like, I've learned a little bit about, like, the hops. And there's a thing called, Mosaic hops?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if you notice on Incarnation's branding and on their packaging, looks like a mosaic.
Yeah, they use a shitload.
Right. And maybe that's what.
Yeah, there might be a hop flavor that you really like.
Really like, right?
Yeah, there's different profiles to them. You know, like El Dorado hops is a little more dry, bitter. You know, there's just different ones. And like Kyle was telling us at Sandy Valley, you know, people like are crafting and creating these artisan hops and stuff. So it's always changing. And evolving.
So fast forward 4 or 5 years after I tried my first Incarnation IPA. I'm working at Sugar Ford, and you met Oscar at Heavy Riff.
Yeah.
He's big into the beer scene, right?
Oh, yeah.
As a consumer, right? And he had one of the head brewers from Four Hands there buying a truck or buying a van from Sugar Ford.
Nice.
And I actually got to talk to the brewer. And Oscar introduced me, and he was like, hey, you know, this is one of the brewers from Four Hands. And I was like, oh my God. Like, you're fucking Incarnation is the best.
Yeah.
Like,
hey, I know you.
Like, is there grapefruit? Does it taste like grapefruit? You're like, and I don't like grapefruit, but why is it so good? He was like, it's all about the hops.
Yeah.
Right? And and then that's when I started realizing that you can get these different hops. And
man.
You may have a hop that tastes like a banana.
Yeah. That's the other really cool thing.
There's no banana in it. You know what I'm saying?
Talking about same thing. Like that was a lot of fun talking with Kyle at Sandy Valley.
Right.
You know,
I'll tell you what, that rice.
Oh, dude, the rice lager.
Rice lager was so good. I could smash that all day long.
I was recently drinking the one from Wiseacre from Memphis.
Okay.
I gotta have you try that one.
Okay.
It's really, really good. But like, I don't know if it's that it's from that property and it's such a small scale, but like, yeah, man, the Solana, I think that's which one it is from Sandy Valley.
Yeah,
like it's
the first one I tried.
The flavor on there, it's a little bit better, man.
It had a really good flavor.
They're so crisp and smooth.
Man. So light.
Dangerous.
I was like, dang, this is really good.
Even at 4.5%, dangerous.
And it was a hot day. It was a hot day.
I didn't mean to drink 4 in an hour.
Right. But we were at Sandy Valley, and I think it was upper 90s.
Yeah, that was a tough day.
And it was just like, oh man, this is killer.
Worth it though.
Yeah.
What are you thinking on this this session IPA?
I like it. It's got a good flavor to it, but it doesn't. Out of the four,
light.
I think if I had to give a fuck yeah to any of them, it's gonna be that German Pils.
Yeah, I support that.
Yeah.
My close second would be the brown ale.
Yeah, my close second would be the
Belgian. Yeah, the Belgian is good. Well, like I said, I think what's really nice to note about it is that, and I saved a little bit on purpose, but I'm sitting there like, I'm like, I don't want to compare it, but it's hard for me to not compare, man.
Yeah.
I can't help it. KC is just, it's my favorite one, along with, like I said, iron hops.
We're talking about Incarnation. I compare that
a lot of IPAs.
Right?
Especially if it's a double IPA, if it's supposed to be like, yeah, man, this one's real hoppy.
Right.
And then you taste and you're like, Incarnation's better. You know, like you can't help it.
But
you can't help it.
One of the best things about being in this podcast is that it's broadened my horizons to beer.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm like, just Four Hands is good.
Yeah, man.
But it is, I don't think it's the best IPA.
I don't want to be, let me shit.
And I'm trying to shit on it. It's good.
We like you guys. I want to come meet you guys. I want to come talk to you. But we've got some smaller guys that are just doing really, really big things.
Okay. Four Hands seltzers. They had a pineapple seltzer.
Yeah.
That was fucking phenomenal.
Did you try their Starburst one that literally tastes like a strawberry
Starburst? I think I did.
I couldn't believe it. Actually, they was like, no, it tastes like Starburst. I'm like, whatever, dude. But I'm like that because I don't like seltzers. They're so watery. And then I drink it and I was like, that's a strawberry Starburst. Man. Yeah, undeniably.
Yeah,
but
so it's just interesting.
But this is a great brew because compared to other Belgians, this is lighter, a little bit smoother. It's more of an entry point for you. And I think it's good to even have the option because the flavor is not lacking at all.
You know, if we're getting onto like entry beers on like craft beer, this Perfect Storm isn't bad for an entry beer, for an entry IPA. If you're like trying to express
session IPA, man.
It's a good session one, right? Like you can drink a couple of these and not get shit faced. You know, you can.
A Belgian is good. See, now like that, I let that warm up a lot. And then once I did and you drink it, it's like, yeah, man, all the clove and the malt flavors that you want, they're there. It's just light. It's just light and smooth. But hey, that's a great option to even have because most people don't go that route for a Belgian.
Yeah.
But
So are we?
Yeah, the German Pils is the fuck 100%.
Yeah.
I don't think they have it in 4-packs, but that's the one I want to take home.
We're about to find out. We're gonna go
they
there
have
and
a
find
couple
out.
4-packs. I'm taking beer home.
Yeah. So
It's happening. Friends, be watching for us. We're going to be at Brew in the Lou. We're going to be media coverage for Brew in the Lou. Fuck yeah. Be checking us out. Like, subscribe, follow us, please, on YouTube especially. Be following us. We've been putting in work.
We've got a
some great
2-part episode
episodes
coming
for
up
you guys.
for four brothers.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
don't we?
We're going to wrap season 1.
Well, yeah.
Season 1.
Where we started, where I first came in
man.
to the One Beer at a Time podcast. It was our very first episode in the middle of the fucking pandemic.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, shit was crazy, and Jim was like, come on and do this. And so it's been a crazy that's been what, 2-3 years?
Yeah, a few years.
Well, it was the middle of the pandemic, so.
Yeah. So it's like circling all the way back around. We're going to finish up our season 1 of OBAAT on the road, package this all up.
And then we're going right back
Let
to
you
Four
guys
Brothers
know,
Mead.
And finishing up at Four Brothers Mead is perfect. They're the first place to invite us out to come and hang out and to drink their stuff and do review. And so they're going to be our finale for season 1. We're going to get you a 2-part, do the full behind the scenes, meet a couple of the guys, and then we'll show you why they kick so much ass when we go to the Mead on Main
Viking Fest. That's going to be insane.
Yeah,
so,
man.
Stay tuned. It's been awesome.
So we're sitting here with Giovanni of the Brew Hogs.
Yes,
sir. It's good to meet you myself.
Nice,
man. Like I
nice
said earlier, I was real jealous of these fools when they got to come out to the Smash Festival. I wasn't upset. I've been coaching boxing and kickboxing for a little over a decade. And so I corner and coach people sometimes. So I was with a bare knuckle boxer.
Wait a minute, corner and coach?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I was a corner man for one of our St. Louis bare knuckle boxers at this wild event in New Orleans. So I was happy to be there. But on the way back, when I'm watching rough drafts that this dude sent us, I'm like, oh man, I wish I could have gone to that festival. So it's great to meet you in person, man.
Yeah, thank you, man. It was a great festival. We had such a great time. We love doing it in South St. Louis too because we get a lot of the locals come out. Yeah. You know, they know the Stellar Hog. They're regulars there. So for them to come and try all these craft beers and have a good time, it was awesome. It was awesome having you guys there as well.
It's beautiful. It was a Smash Festival. Tell the people what the Smash Festival is because I had to get hip myself. I didn't know. I thought that was just a cool name.
It is a cool name. It is a cool name, but SMASH is actually an acronym. It stands for single malt and single hop. So that entire competition, it's interesting because you think it would be restrictive.
Yeah.
You know, and it is in a way because we try to give the education that you can brew a great beer with just very few ingredients.
Yeah.
But we also started that competition to think outside of the box, like they had to do when they started brewing in this country. Like this drink we're having now, this California Common. This is an out of the box beer.
Yeah, man.
Because of that.
Good too, by the way.
Yeah,
it's really good.
Yeah, you know I was going to get to that for sure.
So our Smash competitions fosters that. Like, how can you take these simple ingredients with only one hop, one grain? How can I produce all these different styles? Maybe I can roast my own malt. Maybe I can mix
still make it great.
Yes. So that's the heart of the Smash competition, and it just keeps growing bigger and bigger every year. So
how many years?
This was our 6th year doing it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love that. That's another thing that survived COVID. That's awesome.
It did survive COVID.
Nice,
it did,
man. So we're talking Brew in the Lou.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was telling you earlier, I've known about Brew in the Lou for a while. It's something where I'm always like, man, I need to go. Honestly, I've worked in the service industry, and for the most part, I work on weekends. And a lot of times in the fall season, my favorite season for beer, I don't get to go to none of the fun stuff. Last year, I was super lucky to just barely make it to Oktoberfest in Soulard. And that was the only thing I went to. And, you know, for us craft people, it's like...
The beer's still good.
I'm not going to talk shit to Soulard, but their Oktoberfest is not fancy. You know, for craft guys, it's like, you're walking around like, oh, that's all we have to choose from? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but you know what Oktoberfest is supposed to taste like.
Yeah.
So, you know that. It's always welcome. It's not something you're going to drink in August, you know, when it's 100 degrees.
Yeah,
it's kind of nice. the weather's cool and you get this nice malty German
I love the
concoction.
malt flavor. I always tell
Delicious.
everybody it is one of the beers that really made me get into craft beer in my early 20s. I didn't know, like, I'm like, what's a Marzen? What's a Oktoberfest? You know? But as they started coming around every year, by like 25, I had, without even getting into any details or science or tasting notes about beer and learning what I'm talking about at all, I was at a point where I'm like, this is definitely one of my favorite styles. I hate that it's only here for a couple months out of the year.
Doesn't have to be. You can brew it.
That's part of why I want to get into brewing, man.
Yes.
Yeah, which, like we were talking about a little while ago off camera. So you're the guy to know for homebrewing in the St. Louis area, man.
I'm a guy.
So,
there's a lot of guys that know a lot.
It sounds like the Brew Hogs are killing it, though. I'm impressed. So let's talk about.
Yeah, Brew Hogs are killing it. It's a club I founded back in 2018 in my backyard. I was doing these things called Beer and Fire, where just guys would get together and we would brew meat. Brew meat. We would cook meat and we would brew a beer, get together 2 months later, drink that beer, cook something else. And it got to the point where it was just like a handful of guys to like 20, 25 guys. And my wife was like, this is fun and all, but maybe you want to think about finding another place.
Yeah. You guys should find a venue. Maybe?
Yes. And one of the guys who was coming down was the owner of the Stellar Hog. So he's like, we just built this cool patio. It's kick ass. We got a fire pit. We got bathrooms.
It just works out.
Why don't you guys come up? So we start meeting there. And within a couple months, we're like, let's make it official.
Yeah.
So that's where we got our name, the Brew Hogs from the Stellar Hog. So
I love that. Okay.
Next thing you know, there we are.
Yeah, man, that works out perfect. And for us, for what this show is, it's perfect. I love the grassroots story and then just the local involvement. You built a network locally, local like-minded people, and it's about the beer. That's my favorite thing, So let's talk about Brewing the Lou a little bit more. This is the 12th annual.
Yeah.
I've known about it for at least 2, maybe 3 years. I had no idea it was 12 years.
Yeah.
That's pretty awesome.
It's their big fundraiser, the lease organization. And it's great. It's in Francis Park, always in October. So the weather is usually right on the money. COVID, everything took a little hit.
Right.
But since then, it's been back gangbusters. I know last year, I think they had like 1,400 people. And this year, they're expecting to have upwards of 2,000 people.
Yeah, that's amazing.
What makes Brew and Lou so unique is it's not just a beer festival. You're getting the combination of everything. We got wineries there. We got food vendors there.
Okay.
We've got spirit vendors there. So there's a lot of the whiskey guys are coming out of the woodwork and letting you sample their stuff. Absolutely. There's people who do some slushies, some bourbon slushies.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
It's just great stuff. And then, of course, we got all the breweries in town. So the breweries come, the craft breweries. But then there's the home brewers.
That's the exciting part for me. I love that there's just a festival that brings all the, it's like it's available to all the local professionals, but for home brewers, it's like, hey, here's a level up.
It is a level up.
It's like, because if you're a home brewer, if you go and kill it at a festival like Brew in the Lou, I mean, come on, man, that's a statement.
It is. And
that's a real statement.
Here's what's funny with all that is going on in Brew in the Lou. It seems like when they do their surveys, the after festival surveys, that the home brewers, that's people's favorite. That's what they're coming there for because they can get the other stuff on the shelf.
Yeah.
Here.
I think that was what was so unique about attending the Smash Fest was that was beer that you would not try anywhere else. And I didn't have a bad beer the entire time that I was there.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, it was so good. Yeah. Everything was so good.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And it was so hard to pin down your favorite.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
It was.
So Brew in the Lou 12th annual, do you know roughly have a general idea how many home brewers are going to be this year?
Yeah, well, it's tough. October's tough because it's beer festival season. Yeah. So it doesn't matter what date we try to set for Brew in the Lou, it's competing with other homebrew festivals going on. Like this year we're competing with Augusta Bottoms. Which is another.
Sounds really familiar.
Yeah. So we've got a lot of the homebrew clubs.
Where
and by the way,
out of
Augusta. Yeah, okay. Augusta, Missouri, down past Defiance.
Do they have beers in cans?
I believe so. Yeah.
I feel it just sounds real familiar to me. I'm I feel like we might have had our hands on one at some point.
Well, Augusta's more known for their wineries. Mm-hmm. There's a great brewery down there, and they hold a festival on the grounds down there in Augusta. So Augusta Bottoms. A great party.
Sounds great. Yeah.
It is. And we have 13 area homebrew clubs in St. Louis. When I say area, I mean within a 100-mile radius. There are 13 different clubs that are part of this thing called the St. Louis Area Homebrewers Guild, which we're part of. Some of them clubs are going down to Augusta Bottom, so it's always tricky.
Okay.
Not every club has the ability to be in 2 places at once.
It's a lot of logistics.
It is. But even with that, we've got 7. I think we just had the 8th club sign up to be at Brew in the Lou. So we'll have 8 homebrew clubs. And also, starting last year, what we did is we consolidated all the homebrewers. Before, they were sort of scattered out with all the other vendors.
Okay, so it'd be like a section you can go to.
There is. Last year, we tried something out. We called it the Homebrew Horseshoe. So it was just literally in the shape of a horseshoe around the sidewalks. And it was a huge success. So this year, Homebrew Horseshoe is back. We'll have 8 homebrew clubs.
Hey, man.
Dozens of brewers.
That would be really cool on a limited t-shirt. Brew in the Lou, Homebrew Horseshoe.
Homebrew Horseshoe.
That'd be pretty sweet.
I mean, all 3 of them rhyme.
Yeah.
Homebrew Horseshoe.
It does.
It's a mouthful.
Pretty cool. Yeah, well, you just have a front and back logo, you know, like you can have a Brew in the Lou shirt, but it's got the Homebrewers Horseshoe in the back. That's pretty cool.
So I don't have a full count yet of entries. In fact, people have been so involved with local competitions that there's going to be probably a big push now in the next couple of weeks leading up to the festival of people signing up, other clubs signing up. But I can only speak for the Brew Hogs. In the Brew Hogs, we've got 10 brewers, and we're going to be pouring 22 beers, just our club alone. So if you're a craft beer person and you want to come try a bunch of stuff that you're not going to find anywhere without any of the restrictions that the commercial brewery guys have, because homebrewer, that's the beautiful thing about homebrewing. You do whatever you want, you can try it. Summer Smash, we had a chicken beer. The guy next to me had a chicken beer. You know, that's crazy, and it was actually good. It was really good. You get that kind of weird stuff. So
do it. Yeah, that's awesome.
If I was to guess, I would say at least 50, if not 60, homebrew beers will be represented at
That's amazing.
So,
and then a bunch of big heavy hitters too, local established craft brewers that we all know and love. I'm sure they bring out some of their favorites and their big fall beers sometimes too. That's awesome, man.
And it's unlimited. It's unlimited, guys. you get your tasting glass and it's unlimited. Unlimited whiskey, wine, beer. Come on.
We're going to have a fun episode.
Pace yourself. Pace yourself.
Be a good time. We'll be there for the day. It's all right. We might take a nap at some point. We'll have an intermission and take a nap.
I keep telling them they need to have rest tents. They really do. You know, they can rent those. They can rent the cots, you know, $5 to 15 minutes, you know. Rest, hydrate, go back out there.
A little oxygen bar. Get you taken care of.
Absolutely.
That's awesome, man. So we're here at Good News Brewing. I should have brought that up in the very beginning. I've never been here before. I'm like, well, we'll have to definitely come back and feature these guys and do a whole thing here. But what can you tell me about this California Common?
Well, I can't tell you a whole lot about it because I didn't brew it. But the head brewer here, you know, Justin, he's the one who came up with this concept, and he's the one who came up with this recipe and brewed this beer. And it's delicious.
Yeah.
You know,
so what are your thoughts on it? Because I really, really like it.
It's perfect. It's perfect. And in fact, as it warms up, it's getting a little bit more traditional to style.
Yep. Even better.
Well, yeah, because
the malt flavors are just even better.
A California Common is one of those unique historical styles that fell away. You know, it was invented out of necessity because a lot of the German brewers that were heading out west, they didn't have the refrigeration, and they're German brewers. They're used to cold lagers, cold yeast, just cold ferment.
Right.
So if I can't ferment at 50, 55 degrees, what am I going to do?
Right.
Well, let's try it. So they took those yeast that they brought with them, that they propagated, and they used local ingredients, and they brewed this thing that became known as a California Common, which is basically a lager brewed at ale temperatures.
Yeah, man. And see, this is where the history fan in me, I love, we talked about this at Wild Sun. There's a level of anthropology, man, because we went through this very similar conversation at Steampunk, learning about their Kentucky Common.
Very similar.
I was like, very similar. Is a Kentucky Common, man? I was saying on the podcast, I was like, I literally feel like I'm rediscovering beer because this doesn't remind me of anything I can't pinpoint nothing. I'm like, it's got a great malt flavor, drinks light like a lager.
Right, that's a good point. I think that's why I like it, because it drinks so light like a
it's
lager.
delicious.
Reminds you sort of
this.
like an Oktoberfest, but it's like the malts are very, very different. So no flavor-wise, no, it's not the same. And then the story is real similar.
Yeah, very similar. And the brewers there in Kentucky, they were like, man, they couldn't get the barley. There was no one growing barley in abundance. So what do we got? Well, there's whiskey guys. Man, they're brewing all over the place. What are they brewing with? So, Kentucky Common is basically a whiskey mash.
Yeah.
A lot of corn, a lot of bourbon corn in that. That's what makes it so light and crisp and easy. So
because rarely anybody does a corn lager. And I mean, those are beautiful if you can get your hands on one, just like a rice lager. It's true.
But there's good news, bad news there. And the bad news was, whenever refrigeration came about, then all these styles fell out of popularity.
Yeah,
because they weren't needed. They had refrigeration. These German brewers went back to doing what they know how to do: cold pilsners, lagers. It wasn't until the home brewers picked that up and was like, "Man, these great styles that are no longer around," man. And they started again. So we can thank the California Common.
I have to admit, I think the Common is probably my new favorite.
They're fantastic.
It's great. All three of us, Jim and I, we sat and we talked with Dave at Steampunk and Robert. All of us just kept saying, I really like their beers. They have a few that I really, really like, but we just kept going back to it, man. I'm just like, no, it's
I think that's
the
why
best.
I like this one so much, because as soon as I took a sip of it, I'm like, ooh, that.
A good malt.
I'm not a huge beer drinker. I'm out of the three or four of us. Matt's probably the least beer drinking out of the four, but out of the three of the original crew, I'm the least. I don't drink a whole lot.
Yeah,
I just not. But God, and that's what's been so cool about doing this podcast. I get to try all these different kinds of beers.
Yeah, then you hit something that's like, oh wait, what is that? Hold up, maybe I will have another.
Well, what's cool about both the California Common and the Kentucky Common is the word common in it, which means it's for the common man, the common folk. So it kind of followed the tradition of English brewing. English brewing is about pub life.
Yeah.
So, they're not serving 10% IPAs. Not that there's nothing wrong with that. I love 10% IPA. Right. But you want a drink that you can start in the morning and continue through the evening and not have to fall home,
Yeah, man.
So that's what's beautiful about both California and Kentucky Commons. They're in that 4 to 5% range. See? So you can have a few of them.
Friends, you got to try craft beer. You'll find something. See, we talk about it all the time. And my big thing, because the same reasoning for American beer drinkers is why everybody loves just the popular domestic light beer so much. And I get it. Yep. I understand. We want to be able to barbecue all day and drink that 30 case. Hey, I get it, guys. But that's why I try to tell people, I'm like, but try a Pilsner though. But try a Kolsch. Like a lot of times people are turned off by craft beers and not realizing like the depth that you can have with a lager. Try an amber lager. And then when you grow up to the point of really appreciating malts, then something like this comes around, man. I mean, for me, this is a perfect beer.
It is really good.
It doesn't have to necessarily be your most favorite of all time, but I think like a brew like this, it's undeniably like a perfect beer.
Well, it's on trend. It's on trend too. I mean, that is the trend. A few years ago, it was all how big of a beer can I make?
Yeah.
That's when all the double IPAs and the barrel age, and again, they have their place. I love them all. But the trend,
you can only drink
one
or two,
one and done.
max.
You go to brewers across the country now, what are you seeing? You're seeing these things called table beers or session beers, which is 3 to 5%.
Even session IPAs are starting to really take a lot more popularity over the juice bombs and the real hazy. I think hazy as a bartender, I think hazy IPAs are just ridiculously popular no matter what.
Oh,
but
man, good hazy.
Yeah, man, I think they're probably
For a week. Okay, that's it. Because after
like
a week on tap,
seller.
It changes. All those hops that begin to oxidize.
Well, and once the keg just kind of sits too.
So if you like that style, get it fresh. As fresh as you can. Where a style like this will last for a while.
But session IPAs are definitely like becoming very, very popular. If you have an IPA that's within 6%, people will buy the hell out of it.
They will. They will.
It's not as popular. I mean, or it's not as common. For the most part, I think most of them are like 7 or higher for the most part, Well,
you know what? This is kind of funny, but the good news is that good news is going to be pouring this beer at Brew in the Lou. So this will be on tap. So if no one's ever tried a California Common, you can come out to Brew in the Lou and try this beer. It's going to be on tap, and they got tons of it. They brewed plenty for the festival. So.
I'm sure you guys have some surprises, but you got anything you can tell me?
No, I can't. I'm not gonna. You got to come and see.
That's all right. I'm pumped for it, man. Like I'm so
we have
ready.
over 20 beers across the gamut, everything you can imagine.
I need to bring my big backpack with some growlers and some crowlers.
Yes,
I got a couple little howlers.
We can't serve you that. We can't serve you that, man. You know, we're serving samples.
I'll come with some cash ready too.
Well, the party's in the back. All the deals happen behind the tent. All right,
man. So I'm gonna have to go home with a trunk loaded up with a couple things.
That's right. That's right.
We're here at Good News Brewing, which is really great. I've never been here before. We're here with Amy. Miss Amy, you are one of the organizers for Brew in the Lou?
I am. I'm the director of marketing and fundraising for the Lutheran Elementary School Association, and this is one of our top fundraisers of the year.
So that's what got you into Brew in the Lou?
That is what got me into Brew in the Lou. It's our fundraiser. Yeah.
Okay. How long have you been working with Brew in the Lou?
So 15 months.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is going to be my second brew.
Okay.
Out of 12.
Nice. Yeah. Obviously a beer fan.
I do like beer. I know a lot more. I can tell you I know a lot more about beer today than I did 15 months ago.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's my learning curve. It's been quick and swift. And Giovanni, who you talked to earlier, he's been a great teacher, and I just learned a whole lot. It's been great. It's a great thing to know. I mean, it's a great thing to understand and know about and learn about. And
I think that's how most of us craft heads started out. Like I've kind of always liked beer.
Yeah.
Since I was too young to be drinking beer.
Yeah.
But once I was 21, I got a job as a bartender.
Yeah.
And being freshly 21, you're behind a bar, you're always one of the youngest people if you can get a bartending job that young anyway. So everybody that was above me, everybody's trying to train me.
Sure.
And everybody is like, so what do you drink? In every single category, it's like, what do you drink? Okay, no, that's trash. We're going to teach you. And everything from liquor and wine and beer.
Oh, yeah.
And I've always liked beer. So I had several bartenders that started pushing craft beer on me really, really quickly, you know.
Right.
And I've always been into it forever. I think stuff like Brew in the Lou is beautiful because you bring the community together, which is wonderful, you know. And then now you guys have your first collab beer.
Isn't that fun? Yeah, we have our first collab beer. So yeah, I would say that Brew in the Lou is St. Louis and celebrating St. Louis, right? And because we have a lot of local craftsmen plus the craft beer. So we're celebrating all the culture that is St. Louis. And I heard about this phenomenon that was all these custom beers. They were doing it with the city players and all of that. And I'm like, wait, we're a brew festival. We should have a custom beer. So it just came to me that we should do that. And first people I approached were Good News Brewing. They have a Christian background. As I said, we're the Lutheran Elementary School Association. So they started, two Christians started this. And so we thought, well, that's where we'll start. And we knew Justin Gedalian, the head brewer. He won the Brew in the Lou bottle competition last year. He was the grand prize winner. So we knew he was a good brewer. And he knew that Good News was a good partner to brew.
Yeah.
And so we thought we'd start with them. And they came up with this incredible California Common for us.
Yeah, this is great.
It is so smooth, so good. And we're just so thankful. And they had a good time with it. And we've had a good time with it. We did a naming contest, had 135 entries, and came up with the name Back Pew Brew, which is perfect, right? And
that's great.
And it'll be here. This is the release party. And then it'll be here at Frenchtown until Brew, and then we'll have some at Brew. So it'll be great. It's just a lot of fun. And so, God willing, our other partners that come to Brew will help us out next year. We'll kind of spread the love around about the custom brew.
Growing.
Yeah, exactly.
I love that. So have you always been a craft beer person?
No, as I said, I've come into it. I've liked beer, but I've never been as much of a craft beer person. My husband's a little bit more. He's more interested in it than I am, and the different kinds of beers than he has. So, like, I always say, every time I get to tell him I'm having a beer lunch, I'm like, I'm living your best life, honey. He's like, you have beer again? I'm like,
so before getting involved with this, what was your normal, go-to beer style?
Oh, it was just like, you don't want to know. Should I
just
tell
regular
you?
domestic?
Just domestic beer. Bud Light was one of my go-tos. Bud Light, but I did like Schlafly. We did a lot of Schlafly,
So within, less than a couple of years, you've gone this entire beer course.
I have.
To the point where now you're loving this malty,
so much.
Golden.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't call it, I always want to say an ale or a lager, but no, it's a common. So it's a California common. That's what it is.
Right.
No,
my husband was a huge stout fan.
Okay.
And now I've become a huge stout fan.
Oh, nice. So you've really gone full
I have
circle.
I have done it.
Have you graduated? Have you graduated to sours? Do you like sours?
I do not like sours. I haven't graduated.
See, as long as I've been drinking craft beer, I still, this this podcast has gotten me to the point where I can appreciate sours.
Sure.
So now I can actually, at least my palate's to the point where I can taste whether that's a quality beer or they just threw a bunch of additives in there to make it tart. You know, you can tell. You can tell.
Absolutely.
With all craft beer, you can tell if it's pure or if it's just some added, flavorings is basically all I call it. But no, that's what I was going to get at earlier. I think that it's kind of cool that it's happened so fast for you, but I think that that's how most craft beer journeys go. Is it goes from like, I like this taste, and you start noticing, I like these styles. What is that called? Oh, okay. So I like pale ales. All right. You kind of start figuring out certain styles. And when you get to the point where then you start learning what makes them different styles of beer, even without like all the hard science. I mean, it's a lot of biology, microbiology and chemistry. And, you know, but even before that part, just understanding like, oh, it's malt taste that I like.
Yes.
You know, stuff like that. It's a really big part of the journey. And I think that's pretty wild you've done all of that so quickly. That's impressive.
And it's been fun. It's been fun. I've loved learning about it. Now our biggest fun thing to do on weekends is go to beer festivals, other beer festivals, because we're doing work.
Market research.
Exactly.
I think this is a great beer. Did you have any kind of like influence or conversations with them about like what style of brew and all? They literally just picked it?
Yeah, we talked about it a lot. You know, Martin Luther was German, and his wife was a brewer, because back in the 1700s they couldn't get a lot of good water there in Germany, right? And so he was proud that they come over there and get some of our beer, and she had a really good brew apparently, and so he loved it and he was proud of it, and a lot of people loved it. So we talked about maybe what she would have brewed back in those days, what was available, and and that kind of thing. But he just came up with his own thing, and that was fine, because he was doing it out of his love for the beer and partnership with Brew in the Lou. So that was the only conversation we really had about it.
It worked out great. It worked out great. I feel like the malt flavor on it, it's in the vein of an Oktoberfest, but it's definitely not a Marzen, an Oktoberfest style brew.
No.
But because the malt is still in that same realm, it's like it's even lighter. You know, it's even crispier, smoother drinking, and that's great for this time of year. You know, you still get big malt flavors. It's bringing you into fall. But I mean, it drinks very, very light. It's very refreshing. Good.
Yeah, I was really thankful that he kind of went with something that I hadn't heard of a California Common until he said that's what we do, and I'm like, cool. And then all the people that submitted the naming contest, they researched it and find out, so they get, there's a steam process to it, and so they started doing a lot of throwing steams in the name, and of course California, so they did a lot of California dreaming, and just a lot of, it was just so much fun to see what people came up with.
That's cool. I like that. So when did you start taking submissions for the name?
July.
Okay.
So they had the beer ready. He knew what he was doing, and so we could describe it to people.
Okay.
And then we said, okay, we're going to take submissions for 2 weeks, and we did it on social media and email to our normal groups and all of that.
So you got to follow the socials, friends, and next year you can vote on.
You may have a beer named.
It's so much fun, because they've got it on the wall in there. We're gonna have it all over social media. It'll be all over the stuff for we get to talk about it as we promote Brew in the Lou.
That's great.
And we can talk about it, and then the person gets 2 tickets to the event too, so VIP tickets too, not just tickets. 2 VIP tickets.
So let's tell the people about like details for the event itself.
Right. So the festival is 1 to 5 p.m. on October 12th at Francis Park around the Lily Pond. And to this weekend, I don't know, you won't be doing it this weekend, really. You're cutting this out.
I can cut this off.
Yeah. So, but the tickets in advance are $50 or $60 at the door. We sold out of VIP we sold out of VIP already. But
that's beautiful.
But $50 in advance, it's great, and you get a free tasting glass. And then we're going to have at least 20 breweries there, but we also have wine and bourbon, spirits, all kinds of good stuff.
Giovanni was telling us.
Narwhal's Craft is going to be there, so
beautiful.
Good cocktails, beatbox. It's just a celebration.
Super local.
We
got some food vendors out there.
Food vendors out there. High Point Drive-In will be there. There you can buy from them.
Yes.
Beer Brothers, although they're going to be sampling a little bit of stuff from their store, but they're bringing food. They're bringing some food for us, and then a lot of the churches have chili, and there's some salsa, so there's some free food too.
Very cool.
We're big partners with Salem Lutheran at Afton, and they bring out brats and chili. And then, but there's some stuff to buy too for everybody. And so it's a lot. It's St. Louis and celebrating St. Louis in a beautiful spot in the middle of St. Louis.
No, that's
and
perfect.
So it's
I'm so excited.
Great fall festival. We think it's the best one in. And of course, you already talked about the Homebrew Horseshoe, which is really one of our unique aspects. I think it's the largest gathering of homebrew clubs in St. Louis.
I think it needs its own T-shirt.
It might.
A limited T-shirt.
Yeah.
Just 100, 150, whatever.
Yeah.
But limited amount of T-shirts.
Okay.
You can do your Brew in the Lou logo on the front.
There you go.
But do the Homebrew Horseshoe on the back. I think it'd be so cool. Yeah, man. It'd be so cool. And if it's limited, people are going to be fighting over it.
Well, there you go. And I need a sponsor for that. Whoever's out there that would like to sponsor the Homebrew Horseshoe.
That sounds perfect.
But I think I love the idea.
And you know what? We'll be out there too. Come and find one beer at a time. We'll hang out. We'll cheers and drink beers with you. Yeah.
There's no cooler people in the world than the people who drink beer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, really.
That's one of the most fun things that we've started, like one of the most fun elements of this journey of our podcast, as it's grown from just, there's two guys, we sit and we drink beer and we just kind of tell you what we think.
Yeah.
Into like, now we want to go out and show brewers and show breweries and like highlight and just focus on people. You know, everybody's got that same kind of vibe, that same kind of mentality. And it really is one of those things that like, hey man, I'm a musician and the music community is cool. Yes. But honestly, like the brewers community might be like the coolest, most regular, everyday people that show love. Yeah. It's just a great community.
Yeah, it's definitely a different cool, but they're very chill. It's awesome. It's very accepting. It's all very good.
It's supportive.
It's supportive. Absolutely. Lifting everybody up. I have to say that, you know, I think I mentioned earlier the Lutheran Elementary School Association. So we're supporting all of our 37 schools. This is what this fundraiser does. It supports scholarships and educational resources for our teachers and administrators through the metro area. So this is what this raises money for. And like I said, Martin Luther, the founder of the church, loved his brew. Yeah. And he loved the fruits of the world. He loved to use the fruits of earth and that God gave us to produce and use, you know, and in those days back and then, that was how you had to drink, right? And just like in Jesus' time when they had to drink the wine because the grapes were there, that was what they were.
You're not drinking the water.
You're not drinking the water. You know?
No, it's beautiful. So, I love that.
It's a great tie-in to what we do and to celebrate what the education that we try to give people in the metro area.
That's awesome. So for any organizations, any churches, anybody that wants to get involved for next year, how do they contact you guys?
Just brewinthelew.com.
Okay.
Yeah. And there's an info button on there. They can message me or they can do a vendor. And there's still time this year if this gets out in time too.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, we're going to get this up as soon as we can so that we can just be sharing it from now until the 12th. I'm super excited. Yeah. Thanks so much for contacting us.
Thanks for coming out. Yeah, we had something in common. Let's talk about it.
I tell you what, I'm really glad you invited us.
It's so good. I know. I feel like I birthed it, although I had zero things to do with it, but I'm so proud of it.
That's great.
I give you the foster mom. There you go. Thank you so much.
Yes, Amy.
Yeah, there you go. All right.
Great to meet you in person. I can't wait to see you on the 12th.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it. Thanks. It was fun.